Do we have a name for this?
WandaVision episode 1 to 5 discussion with spoilers is what's written on it, which is, I think, a very
subtitle. Let's get Wanda.
Let's get Wanda would have been better.
Yeah.
I think we're live. So anyway, anyone who wasn't listening, this is a spoiler-filled discussion of WandaVision so far. So if you don't want to know that stuff, don't be here.
Yeah.
Our resident experts, I think, are Colton and Steven, probably. Can we all agree with that?
I like MCU.
Drake, how much of an expert are you?
I'm enough of an expert to know I'm not an expert.
Me too. By which I mean I like watching it.
My Marvel stack of issue comics is about yay. Yeah.
All right, Colton, I think you won. So
I own Marvel Comics. I don't know where they are.
I will succeed to Colton being the top expert. There we go.
I just meant someone start this discussion.
Oh, that was really
we
good.
could just sit here, doing this.
All right. Well, I'm gonna say, starting. I'm gonna go from episode 5. The something happened that I did not like, which was the first part of the show. So something I really like about the show that has the advantage over the Netflix series, Luke Cage, Daredevil, and all that stuff. You know how that show could only talk about the incident. They couldn't actually say you remember when the Chitauri invaded?
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't give details. I like that this show can give those details and can actually be in the MCU, even if even Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. couldn't step in that far.
Yeah.
This is nice that it exists, but I think they crossed the line in the last episode, because when Rambo said but Wanda could have beat Thanos until Thanos called in the Blitz, I was like, were you next to her? Because that's really specific information.
Yeah.
Also,
we should
they
talk
have
with the Captain
live
Marvel
footage of that fight.
Well, and also, my thing with that is, this is a couple weeks after that battle happened. This is not years later where we can say we talked to the Avengers and we got the rundown and that sort of stuff from it. This is
you could easily say, there was a satellite and they were just watching it. They played it back. They saw that happen, but it was they could have gotten the same effect by saying our intel says Wanda did really well against Thanos. We heard Captain Marvel did too. Well, I don't want to talk about that. They could have done the exact same thing without getting that specific.
It came off a little
stuck out.
Yeah,
it stuck out to me bad.
It did.
It came off I think it was the second season premiere, or maybe third. It's been a while since I watched it, of Sherlock, where they're just theorizing about what happened in the finale of the previous season.
Yeah, you never really found out. Yeah,
and it kind of comes off as the creators just kind of jabbing a little bit at actual fans that would have that discussion. And it does come off as a little bit see, here's the kind of things you talk about, and it's stupid.
I was gonna say, and I feel that's what that whole crew of Woo, what's the girl? Kat Dennings. I can't think of her name.
Darcy.
Oh wow,
Darcy.
You guys
I feel
get points.
Yeah, I feel that those 3 people are supposed to be us, because even Woo writing on the board, and was it the last episode of all the things that are clearly things that we're all thinking of, what's why Hexagon, why this, who's that was clearly all right, this is what people are going to be saying. So I feel that those characters I feel are supposed to be is this is what the people watching are going to be thinking, which is why I feel it struck a little weird to hear that Captain Marvel could have done it.
How many years of FBI school do you have to do to wear who, what, where, and why on a whiteboard?
Right.
And people talk. What are you really doing?
You're doing second grade is what you're doing.
No, that's real police work. That's how it works. You just get on a whiteboard. You just start writing the W questions.
You spent an entire movie getting dunked on by Ant-Man, and this is your follow-up? Are you sure?
Hey, but he learned that card trick, didn't he?
He did learn a fancy card trick.
So that was something that just was completely over my head. Steven was talking about that earlier. Once they said, "Oh yeah, remember? Okay, yeah, that happened," but that's not something that's in my memory. So
Yeah, forgive me if like the entirety of Ant-Man isn't so fresh in my mind that I can remember everything from it because it's Ant-Man. Like I liked the movie, but I'm not like, I remember that exact part.
And it's cool. Like it's cute. That's awesome. I just didn't.
It's a nice callback, but
it's just a cute little callback. Yeah.
And I feel like there's so much of that type of stuff that's gonna just fly right by me. So
I think I've caught one reference so far.
Which was
I got another Wu question. So is he so high up in the FBI that they moved him from Oakland or San Francisco all the way to Jersey for this? Is there no one else available?
I'm sure that just nobody cares what he's up to. Like he goes off and they're like, thank God he's gone for a few
Wu's like, I'm gonna go across the country, and they're like, please, please leave.
Good.
He won't stop doing that stupid magic trick since he got back.
It does feel like, I don't know, they really go out of their way to make him pretty dopey, right?
He's fun. I like him though. He's I definitely don't dislike him.
No, he's a goober, which is fine.
Yeah, he's a goober and he's fun, but I didn't think about that till Jory just said it. Like, we need Wu.
He's like, the only guy for the job.
Yeah. And then when
he's the only guy.
When the sword people come in, they're like, you know what? Let's keep Wu on this case. He saw one of our agents disappear in under a minute. He's clearly the best guy to keep around. Like, no, I feel like most of the sword people will be like, we got this. You can go.
Who thinks Vision is deceased still?
Well, it's complicated. I definitely think he's dead. I definitely think he was resurrected. I don't think it'll last.
I think it's like a marionette, like she's just puppeting around a body.
A dead body.
Yeah. No, I think the Hex is the Darth Vader suit keeping Anakin alive and Anakin being Vision. I think in there she can have him be.
But so you're saying the Hex is the music that's keeping Bernie walking around.
Yeah. Yeah. You got it.
Interesting. I had been assuming, once you realize, because again, stuff I didn't think about. You watch Endgame and you're like, oh, Vision's alive. Okay. And, I may have missed something, but it's just like, okay, I guess that's a thing and accept it. And now that I'm watching this, I'm going, oh, Vision and Endgame. Right. That's not Vision. That's just Scarlet Witch, like, wanting Vision to be around.
Also, was it part of Vision's will to just be torn apart and experimented on?
Okay. That was something I had that I wanted to get to, because I like that they were talking about, the director was like, yeah, like it goes against his living will. It's like, okay, but clearly you have him taken apart and you are...
I'm pretty sure his will wouldn't be like, yes, rip me apart and find out everything about me. Like,
right. Yeah, clearly you are doing something like really nefarious.
Then again, I probably could see Vision being like, I don't even know how I work, so sure, figure out what's going on with me. But I mean, the fact that they said Wanda violated that by doing what she did, then like clearly what they were doing was probably violating it.
Mm-hmm. Also, who did he have to get approval from? He's the director. Like that was his lines. Like I got approval. I just got approval to show you guys this footage. From who?
From the president.
Sure. Yeah, the president's in charge of sword. Okay.
It seemed
probably secretary. What's his name? Thunderbolt Ross.
Vision's living will. To me, Vision's living will. That's like this very oddly specific. It's just weird. It's like talking about like Iron Man's like cavity in his molar or something. It's like, okay, that's like a step. Vision has a living will. Like,
who's the robot attorney that wrote up this will for him?
Right. I don't know. That's so weird to me.
He wrote the software for it.
Yeah. What was the point of blowing up S.H.I.E.L.D. if we're going to have Sword that's the exact same as S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Sword's just a bunch of dorks this time. Dorks can't be compromised.
Sword is the Air Force.
The guy who paperclipped his way into Hydra or into S.H.I.E.L.D. was a big dork. That guy who turned himself into a computer? You telling me that guy wasn't a nerd?
Yeah, he was a nerd. You're right. No, I don't know, man. I was just thinking, just because with the whole puppy thing, saying she can't bring people back, I don't think she was being a hypocrite. I think she was lamenting. They also, when Ross got out and she was saying that she only felt grief, I think the fact that grief is still emotion in there, I think if Vision could just be back, that might not be the case. And yeah, and also when she turned and saw him with the big gaping hole in his head, being like, ugh, and when he was all gray, I think it was like a glitch in her own attempt. I think. Yeah,
she dropped the glamour for a second and had to
him not remembering his past, him not knowing what. Yeah, I think he exists in that weird sub reality, but I don't think he's back.
So, do you think that he will come back between now and Endgame, or do you think
this is after Endgame?
It's after Endgame.
This is after Endgame.
Yeah.
Remember, you saw Rambo come back after the blip.
This is after the snap, yeah.
This is after Hulk's snap.
Oh, dude. See, this is why we have people who know what they're talking about on here. So this whole time, because they're showing like all this Maria Rambo stuff, I thought that this was in the in-between.
Nah, she was like, yo, you've been gone for like 5 years, homie.
Yeah, because
your mom died 3 years ago.
You saw her come back from being snapped. Or blip,
honestly, that's probably been one of my favorite parts of the show, just because I like the idea of looking at people that have just phased into existence after 5 years of being gone.
I want to know what happens to people on the airplanes.
Yeah, people on planes, trains, a cruise ship. Like, oh, I'm back, but now I'm in the Gulf of Mexico, like just afloat.
How did no one reform inside of another person? Because you clearly reformed where you last were.
Will they just become this Cronenberg nightmare?
Yeah, they probably died. I would imagine that a lot of people died when they came back. I wouldn't be surprised to hear about that later in like a passing comment from some side character or something.
That can't be a passing comment when one day, I don't know, 20,000 people just fell out of the sky and splattered on the ground.
Well, I mean, but no, that's how we'll hear about it. Someone will be like, oh yeah, when my mom came back, we had moved a chair there and the chair got really messy. And she was
One day
dead.
I was just on my lunch break and 20 people just splattered on the ground in front of me. Then I went to lunch.
We're going to hear about it at some point.
We turned that room. That's the knife and Saw room. So when she came back, just,
I was driving on the interstate and then some lady like this just appeared in front of me and then she just splat.
No, yeah, I don't know. It's but yeah, it's after. Point being, it's after Endgame.
Yeah, it's like right after Endgame too. It's like 2 weeks.
I was so confused, and I'm actually a little because that was really intriguing to me. But I just wasn't paying attention.
Turns out you can get some real intrigue going if you just don't pay attention.
If you just don't watch the show.
But Drake, you think he's deceased? I saw your hand raised. Did anyone else hand raised?
I did. I'm still on the fence. I'm not sure. I know we were talking about this a little bit before. Of
Did Wanda create her babies out of turning the matter of the beehive man into babies? Did she create matter, or did she have to repurpose matter?
Based on the clothes thing, she just repurposed.
Yeah, and they said that she can't create anything. She's just manipulating what's already there.
Made some babies.
But also, she said she can't control them. So I don't know what that means.
That's also something I thought was interesting that I wrote down too. Of she seems to not have any control over the twins, and really Vision she does, but not as much.
And with Vision, I credit it to the Mind Stone because that's how he's freeing people. The Mind Stone just allows him some sort, but she can control him and the Mind Stone while it's in his possession, as we saw in Civil War.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I just think
even if it's in his head, she can just be like, "Nah, I can use that."
Because she's controlling a pretty big area, so I'm sure she's probably maybe just slipping in places. Hence why some people stutter over their words or do the "you want me to run that again" kind of thing. Mm-hmm. I'm just wondering, so she can't create anything; she's just manipulating it. So, I wonder how those children were made, and then of course how the person in episode 5 was made, or what that even means.
You mean Pietro.
I'll say yeah. We can say yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's spoilers. So.
No, that guy that seemed independent from Wanda, which obviously implies villain. Which I would rather there not be a villain. But it is what it is.
Can I ask a dumb question?
Yeah.
And this will be everyone will know the answer. I mean, this is quick. Vision has the Mind Stone?
No, not anymore. It's gone.
Okay, that's what I was. That's okay. That's what I thought. But then someone started talking about the Mind Stone, and I was like,
no, he was saying when it. He has it in the show.
It's in his forehead.
It's there visually.
And he's using its powers. We see his hands turn yellow, and he's absolutely using the Mind Stone.
What was his status at the end of Endgame? Because I don't remember.
Dead.
He was dead the whole movie.
He died
in Infinity War. Not in the movie at all.
No, he died at the end. He died pre-snap. So that's why that's why he didn't come back because Thanos
so all of this stuff. Okay, so me thinking pre-Endgame, post-Endgame, it didn't matter. It's the same thing. He was dead. Is the point, and now he's alive, and we don't know if he's really alive or alive.
And I think if he's using the Mind Stone, it may be remotely, like he's just tapping into his power, even though he doesn't maybe physically have it on him.
The stones still exist.
Right.
Our stones, from as far as we know, do not. However, I believe Wanda remade the Mind Stone inside the Hex.
Okay.
And that would also be the purpose of, I believe, the goal / because otherwise, what's the villain's goal if there is a villain? I could only imagine it's Mind Stone.
See, I just assumed he had his own powers now, which is what I was thinking. Like the Mind Stone being in him so long, he was still able to do that even without.
I mean, I see a shiny yellow thing in his head, and I see his fingers glow yellow. I just think that's what's going on.
Well, I just assumed because when we saw him in his true form, or what do you want to call it, when she saw him and he was gray and dead, like that's what he actually looks like.
No
but
Mind Stone.
Yeah, and she puts the facade of the stone that's not there because that stone doesn't exist anymore.
Him being able to, I don't know Vision having psychic powers other than being able to use the Mind Stone.
But also, all of this is her creation and her maintenance.
Well, that's the other question: is it all her creation?
I've got a Wanda simulation question. I guess it's a two-parter. One, I guess she could lend 5% of her power to Vision to do whatever he wants. That's why she can't make him do whatever she wants. But more importantly, what's happening on the edges of this neighborhood? Is it like Rick and Morty's just human music playing? Is people click through the same things hey, my man.
Nothing's there. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
But, the people in the houses, but are 6 blocks down from her. She's not paying attention to them. Are they clipping through walls?
It seems like her manipulation is expanding past the barrier.
T-posing in the middle of the street.
Well, also that goes back to why Wu is there, because everyone local has no idea about that town being gone and about that witness that's there. It's only because, and they kind of talked about it, is it a distance thing of after a certain radius? That's why Wu is able to know, no, there's supposed to be a person here and there is a Westview. Why don't you guys know about Westview? So yeah, so it seems like it's there's the central hex and then a outer rim of her control where she's making people not believe.
Did she also make them illiterate? Because there's a sign.
I mean, it seems like she's manipulating them to ignore the man behind the curtain.
But then I guess the question is why once they get close enough do they not get manipulated by whatever she's doing, unless it was a one-time
useless.
Yeah, it's it was a one-time warp of all right, everyone in a 10-mile radius has no idea this town exists now. Anyone else that comes knows, I guess.
I mean, all of that
that's the plot
to me.
Yeah.
Stone question.
Hey.
So Infinity Stones. Okay, so we know what happened. Thanos destroyed the stones, right? Our stones.
Atoms.
Then we went and we found some other stones from some alternate timeline, reality, whatever.
Yeah. And then Cap put them back to the store.
Oh, that's right. You went and put them back.
Yeah.
There we go. He went and put them back. I forgot about that because that will be fine. We can just use them and then put them back.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good.
And then destroy the tech and never do it again, right?
Now I'm there.
Never.
Colt, you were saying.
What was I saying?
You were saying Shelley asks, why do some of them know their actors and some of them don't?
Only
she
Catherine
retracted
Hahn seems to know that she's acting.
Well, no,
the mailman,
everyone,
and the other guy did. Another actor was like, your mom won't let the dog get far. So clearly, I think that's just slippage as we get further. I think it, like the same way Vision is kind of loosening up.
Yeah.
It's a little.
It feels like you're inferring that though, and that's from like watching the show and watching the progression where Agnes is actually like
Agnes is
talking
different.
like character. Like
that's what I'm saying. Agnes
is different. Agnes is different. I'm just talking as far as like some of the people knowing their actors and some don't. Agnes is the exception, but I was talking about there's a few others like the mailman and stuff that were clearly aware of what's going on, or at least Wanda's control without being freed by Vision.
Yeah, I think all of them know that they're like something is going on, because clearly when you saw Vision turn off the illusion for that one guy, he was like, "What's like? Where's my dad?" Everything. Like he knows what's happening. He just can't control his own body. Like he's having things done.
Sure, just without that external force to let him do that, he's not actually acting on that. And I feel like the closest you get is Herb hedge trimming into a concrete wall for a while.
Yeah.
So.
Who's Agnes? The neighbor?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
The neighbor that wanted to do the second take and is clearly aware of what's going on and just had a dead puppy, and I don't know. I mean, everyone's pointing to her being the villain, and it's probably right. And what I see probably happening is a lot of probablys. Wanda wants to bring back Vision, not quite strong enough. Lady helps. As they're kind of reforming him, Mind Stone recreated, side effect cause Hex. That's how I see the Hex happening, but don't know.
Do you have thoughts on who Lady is?
Agatha Harkness.
Okay.
Spell her name with it. I mean, it's unfortunately who it is. I just really wish there wasn't a villain and this was all an accident by Wanda.
I was about to say, it felt to me this whole time like that was where we were headed, and that Wanda is the villain if there's a villain to be had.
I really wish that was the case. I don't need a villain. I don't need.
Can she exist and still be neutral? Like, can you have Agatha Harkness not as a villain in this?
That would be nice.
You could. Yeah.
I think you definitely could, because it feels to me like that character. And again, I don't know nothing about Agatha Hartman or whoever's in the comic. I assume that's where that's from.
Yeah,
but like it feels to me like she seems aware. Like they all are aware. Like the guy cutting the hedges, they're aware. They're scared of Wanda. They don't want to cross Wanda. So it feels to me like Agnes is like, I see something's going on here, and it feels like she's trying to get like closer, such that maybe she can like free everybody type deal.
Yeah, maybe she's in a Rambo situation. Like she's trying to stop it, but like, obviously there's some issues in trying to do that.
Yeah, that's the way. I mean, it could be. Maybe she's a bad guy. But again, I don't think if that does end up being the case, that doesn't classify her as a bad guy. She's literally trying to survive.
Do we think New Pietro is going to have Quicksilver powers?
I mean, why else bring him?
Yeah, I was gonna say, why get that guy besides like a little hat if it wasn't to somehow?
I'm worried it's an Easter egg. I'm worried it's just a fan.
I think it could be like a red herring of like, oh, look over here, like, oh no, this is Quicksilver, but
I'm worried it's not a
multiverse thing.
Because that guy's name is Peter. That guy's name is Peter in the X-Men show, and he called him Pietro, which is not a big deal because anyone gets new names when they enter the Hex anyway. That's fine. Right. But I'm worried.
Because also in X-Men universe, they're not twins, right? Like he's like way older than her.
I don't recall.
I'm pretty sure because
in the X-Men universe.
So there's like one scene where I think.
Oh yeah, in the X-Men, yes.
Yeah. So yeah, because when he's leaving like the house, like she's like a child. Like she's not. They're not. Yeah, they're not the same age. Yeah. Because again, they did. Because at that point, that was Fox and Marvel were still two separate things.
Sure, but so we know that was Wanda and not like just his sister.
I don't know. I don't think they ever say her name, and if they do, it's probably like in the credits or something. But it's not like in the show. They never, or the movies, they never say Wanda. Like,
but in the movies, that Quicksilver is Magneto's son, right?
It's pretty heavily implied.
But there's no reason to think that other younger girl is Magneto's daughter, is there?
There's the one that was killed, and then he killed everyone with a necklace, but I don't know who that was. She could control animals, so I don't know if it was Scarlet Witch.
Yeah, I think that was a different mom too. I don't think that was the same.
From one of the many times Magneto just decided to leave, and then
And
they
have a family.
pulled him back in. Like,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh, what are they going to do for the next X-Men movie? Oh, the same thing. Cool. Wait.
Yeah. They were like, hey, this isn't working. Let's just keep doing that.
You want to do X-Men 3 again?
Again? Same director and everything? All right.
The first one went over so well.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
So, yeah, no, I kind of agree. Like, I'm wondering if that's, like, not actually going to be Quicksilver. If that's... it could just be some guy, and they're saying... It could.
Yeah. And Wanda didn't do that, according to her, which seemed believable. So, and at least in the viewer. So, someone sent that in to kind of calm things down. So, something's going on. But
you don't think he's sticking around, though, right?
Who? Quicksilver?
Like we're not going to have Nega Pietro.
No, I think he's. I would guess he's around for half of the next episode.
Yeah.
I don't know, but like I doubt he's going to be in the MCU from now on.
No, like it really does feel like that was. I think that they're gonna try and do something cool with it, but it did feel more than anything like we have Fox now moment.
Right, and I mean, if they pulled a Pietro from a multiverse and put him in there, and then he was recast as our new Pietro, I guess so somebody would have a multiverse spending power to do that. But I don't know. I don't get that sense yet.
But also, like, she's saying that, like, oh, I didn't do that. But, like, I guess at what point, like, I was also thinking, like, oh, I didn't do that, and she seemed surprised by it. Is like, I don't know if that's another actor playing a part, influencing that, or if that's just, like, some subconscious part of her own power that just, like, manifested, like, you're sad, here's Pietro, that kind of thing. Because that's what I took it as, is like, she's the one still doing it, but now it's just going beyond her scope of control. She's just like losing it, much like with the actors who are now starting to realize things.
She's
unconsciously. It makes sense with the kids too.
Yeah.
See, and that's how I feel about Vision. I feel like Vision's dead, and that's her going, I want Vision here. And Vision feels like he's independent because, like, her psyche is split, and she's kind of letting him be independent because he's Vision, and I want Vision. And there's a certain point at which I can't have Vision if he's not Vision. Then I have to, like, personally acknowledge, well, that ain't Vision, because Vision would call me on this. So it's like, you know what I mean? So yeah, I feel like it's the same.
I think she's getting to that point now, but maybe she's not liking it. Because, I mean, there was one time where Vision was just like, I don't remember the exact scene, but where he started questioning something and then it just reset. And she was like, no, we're not doing that. And then just went off with the actual conclusion of the show.
Oh, and I was like, look, the babies are quiet. Oh, my God.
Very clearly, she knows what she's doing because she went out of the hex and just cussed out Sword and, gave him the rocket ship back and left. Like, she's clearly aware, but
I just think she's losing grip, and now just wild stuff is going on.
I would definitely prefer that.
I would too. That's
one of the things, the conversations that we keep coming back to, at least me and Steven and Colton, is like, I mean, MCU has given us very little reason not to trust them. And so I feel very much like the whole, oh, it's just a wink. Look, it's just a wink. We own Marvel now. No, it's not. They're gonna have to do something better with Quicksilver than that.
I mean, I just recently watched The Dark World, Thor, the second one. Oof. And that gave me a reason not to trust Marvel.
True.
That movie is not spectacular. Is that 2012? I was like, MCU has to do worse than 2012 for me to lose trust again.
Because that was a weird time, because that was Dark World and that was Iron Man 3, and like, wasn't there one more that was kind of like they had a couple in a row of like
we had that whole year was Dark World and Iron Man 3, the Christmas movie that came out in May, and and then then I think next was Guardians and Winter Soldier, and it started getting good again.
And Winter Soldier, that was when it was like, oh no, they know what they're doing. They're fine.
Jory, what'd you have?
I was gonna go back to Quicksilver. She didn't seem to take a whole lot of time to be concerned that that guy looks nothing like her actual
like the one I know.
brother.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, Pietro?
Yeah,
Cool.
she totally
Okay.
recognized him. So
Yeah. So, like, is she just
She
choosing?
knew who it was supposed to be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which,
Yeah.
like, in my mind, it would have been better if, like, you saw, like, her illusion starting to lose its mind. Like, a house changes color or moves location, or, like, if you're outside of it, you see weird ripples and, like, people starting to get sucked in that weren't meant to.
The fire
It just
hydrant
seems-
6 foot tall or some reason. Yeah.
Yeah.
Things are getting weird now.
It's like
Other than some guy
Cyberpunk
just
2077.
zoning
Like
out.
that's what you're talking about.
People are falling
Yeah.
through the ground, and
Yeah, more glitches, more shoddy workmanship is what I'm looking for.
I think you're thinking of the first season of The Good Place.
Yes,
Yeah.
because everything in my life goes back to The Good Place.
now, is that real?
that good place
Good
reference.
Place
Is
is
that a
in
good
fact
place
a show.
comment? Is that a true comment, Jory?
Yes,
Okay, good. Just I know that's not what we're here to discuss, but
but
just
we
good.
can quickly turn this into a Good Place podcast.
I'm
What's in the
sure we
script?
can.
That's fine. I need to see season 4 before we do that.
I need to see all the seasons.
You should.
You should.
It's actually a
very
really good show.
It's
Real
very
good.
good.
I will
So
not
that
watch it.
includes the good place spoiler cast.
Nice.
So, if you could pick how this ends for Wanda, would you rather her go back to being a good guy or be a villain for something?
Oh
to
man, I would love her to
consequence?
be a villain.
Me too.
Not that I just like her, I just think that would be more interesting.
I think
You
it'd
know,
be very yeah.
it's just, hey, that's cool. Like, hey, we could use some more villains, especially now that most of them are dusted. And
So I just say we need villains that aren't dead because every movie introduces a villain and then they just kill them.
yeah. Oof.
So like that's why I was really excited for Red Skull to come back, but
He's just
You
floating
know
around.
what? Your Red Skull was exactly what you guys were talking about. Red Skull was like a hey guys, Red Skull. They didn't do anything.
Yeah, he was just cute.
but sorry, Justin, you were saying.
Oh no, I was taking it a totally different place. For anybody who thinks that Vision is still super dead, is his corpse getting puppeted around, or did she put a glamour on a different person to be Vision?
His corpse is sentient and puppeting, not puppeting around, but like I imagine his corpse being like, essentially, I can exist as I was, because everything that's here, like everything that's needed to make Vision be here is in the room, but it's only going to work in that room. Like if he walks out, I don't think he's got much time.
If he leaves the hex, he'll just the
It's
strength.
like if you
I don't
have
think that the Mind Stone that she recreated is going to be stable out there or something like that. But I got fishy feelings towards Vision.
It's
as
like
far
he's-
as life.
he's battery powered, but it doesn't hold a charge anymore, so you have to keep him plugged in. You better hope his cord is long.
He's
Or
that
you
old,
gotta, you
that
gotta
old
take the
laptop.
battery out and then flip it, and it gives you a little more time, but you know it's borrowed time.
It's what Steven said. He's an old laptop, so
It's an
that
old
battery
laptop.
sucks. Like
I'm
it
fucking-
ain't doing well. It'll give you maybe an hour. But yeah, Justin, I think I think he is a vibranium marionette.
And listen, I know that she could like fix him, because when he got shanked in Endgame, Infinity War, when he got shanked, she started like stitching him. Like she can kind of play with him, but you know,
I mean,
I don't
it seems
think-
like that's what the dog scene is supposed to get at, is that she really can't do it.
right.
She just makes it close.
That's. I don't think she was just being a really dumb hypocrite.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody took away from that scene with the dog saying like, "Oh, I can't bring the dog back to life," and the fact that she's like, "Oh, I just don't want to. I just legitimately think she can't bring things back to
I don't
life."
think
Like,
she was just being a stubborn fool.
yeah, she's like, "Oh, I could care less about this dog. Yuck!" Like,
To be fair, they had that dog for 3 hours.
And she didn't want it to start with. So it ate the leaves, and she was like, "No."
yeah,
Also, do we think that dog ate the leaves, or do we think Agnes killed that dog?
Oh,
We think Agnes ate the leaves.
yeah.
I
Agnes ate.
stepped on the dog. No.
I think Agnes killed that dog.
Yeah, that was real sketchy the way
dog?
Well, that dog was also weird in that, like, it was weird that it went to the electrical socket, and that whole thing was weird. But also, like, the dog was the thing that noticed the drone, and like the dog was like ran out and all that sort of stuff. So I feel like there's weird stuff with that dog. Like, was that dog sentient for some reason?
Is it like a Meeseeks and it just
dog
wants
is
to
actually
die?
a resident of the town who's just been morphed into a dog.
I mean, maybe
The dog went for the electrical socket because the dog was actually Thor.
That's the actual Pietro, but he got turned into a dog and trying to save her sister.
maybe it's
Hey, you
the
got
beekeeper. We haven't seen the beekeeper yet. We don't know where he went. Maybe the beekeeper got turned into a dog.
I said babies, so she's just saving a pile of meat that she's using to repurpose into new life. What was it?
Although, like, if she's like rebuilding the Mind Stone, I mean, granted, I can understand the logistics just from a production standpoint of why they wouldn't do this, but I feel like my first instinct, if I was Wanda and I'm trying to rebuild the Mind Stone, I'm grabbing Shuri, because she's the one who could go in there, like, you know, like connect 4 on his brain and attach the Mind Stone back, because she was like the only one that could do it.
That was something I was wondering too. If, like, you know, when she was doing all that stuff, did she create like a synthetic version of the Mind Stone that can kind of at least get him back alive a little bit and keep him going? But I feel like you would have seen that when we saw him dead and you saw like the hole, like you would have seen like a fake thing in there, or
You
something.
would have seen the GameStop replica.
Yes, you would have seen the Mad Cat's Mind Stone in his head.
So Erica asked, didn't she steal his body?
Yeah, she wanted to.
Yeah, she
So,
must have.
okay.
I don't think
So
she was
definitely.
I don't think she was being all too rational either. I think she was just going to go get her. Oh man, I can't say that on the air. She just went to go get her boyfriend, and was real sad, carrying around his body.
Sure, but
Right.
there's no reason, given that we know she stole his body, there's no reason to think that the vision we're seeing is anything other than.
I mean,
Actual
she could still be carrying him around in a backpack like 3PO. You know?
She also had to put that
says, "Oh heavens me!"
Honestly, 3PO and Vision would get along.
Yeah, they're both nerds.
Yeah.
So Vision
They would talk about
dies in Wakanda.
Mhm.
If you want to rebuild him, you rebuild him in Wakanda.
Yeah,
If
gosh.
Sword says, "Hey, we want Vision's body," how are you going to get it from Wakanda? Why would they give him up? Why is he not in Wakanda?
That is a great question.
So Sword changed names from the comics to the show. In the comics, there's Sentient World Observation Response Division, and this there's Sentient Weapon, which makes me think they were working on a weapon, probably the suit of armor around the world Tony was talking about. All the research and development that went into that idea is in Vision. So I imagine they were poking at him, trying to figure out how to make an anti-Thanos, defense shield around Earth.
Or my
So
theory.
you think Wakanda willingly gave the corpse?
I think so. Yeah, because
to Super Shield?
I think they gave it back to America, and then somehow it got into Sword hands. Because no, I mean, you think about it, that was a battle, and like he's a person that died on a battlefield. Like you would give his, like he's an American, like you'd give his body
and
back.
Wanda's dead at this
America.
point. She doesn't have a say. And
Right.
I mean,
I mean, if I'm T'Challa, which is a constant dream of mine,
But also
I'd be
T'Challa-
like,
But
you
you gotta
know
remember,
who I
this
don't
is
trust
post Infinity
here?
War.
you gotta remember, T'Challa's gone, Shuri's gone. Like most of those people got Thanos. They were gone.
Okay. If I'm Okoye,
And if
which is
I'm
like
Tony
Okoye-
Stark,
Okoye's gone as well. All of like the main
Point
Wakanda
being,
people are gone.
if anyone who wants to like hold T'Challa's like reverence or
Abuse.
whatnot, they would want to do what T'Challa would want to do. And if Wanda was like, "Yo, give me Vision," T'Challa would be like, "Sure."
But Wanda's not there to
I
save
know it was Sword or Shield or
if we're
but in a
working
world
down the
where
hierarchy of Wakanda,
you gotta remember, Tony was
if I'm
pissed.
in Baku, I'm
Right?
definitely not listening to you.
Also, 100%. Tony's the answer. That's the answer. It's like
That's what I'm
also-
trying to say.
Yeah, that's Jarvis. Like Tony would want that body.
Tony would be the one who get it, and Tony
Yeah.
would want this to
100%.
exist.
Yeah.
And even if he might not feel that way in 2 weeks, but I can see him doing.
Tony's not gonna let that body
build it over and over. In fact, even if it tried to kill everyone.
I mean, when Tony came back, he actively brought up the whole suit of armor around the world thing again, and then we got a 5-year gap. And I feel like Tony probably got to put Vision in his garage and didn't want it, so he gave it to Sword.
Hey, maybe it was in Vision's living will.
Vision just
I want to be in Tony Stark's garage.
He called Vision it. He got to put Vision in his garage. He didn't want it.
I just want to feel at home again. Put me next to the
doesn't do
cars.
anything anymore.
It stopped working.
Do something.
Does he just make his body replace the dummy robot that he secretly loves but rates all the time? But he just has Vision's disembodied arm moving around.
The fire extinguisher.
The dummy robot actually took him apart. Like his body was probably supposed to stay together, but that robot just kept knocking it apart.
Pulling him apart like taffy, just like constantly.
I got a Lego of the dummy robot.
Now we're going where I wanted to go. I just wanted these descriptions. That's all I wanted this whole time.
Speculating about what happened to Vision's taffy body.
That's why he's purple. He's grape flavored.
And he's purple flavored.
What do you think
that color
joke on the Vision?
I could see him being like a raspberry.
What is the joke? That's a great question.
A raspberry lemon.
What's Vision's joke on his Laffy Taffy wrapper?
Ugh.
Something about commensurate rates.
Commensurate rates, yeah.
Yep.
It would say something profound that makes no sense at all. Yeah.
And it would be like, why were the Sokovia Accords made? And then you flip over the wrapper and I'd be like, because, superhuman incidents have gone up by 103% since the Iron Man suit was made. Like, that would be his joke.
Yeah.
His joke would be a fact.
Yeah, 100%.
I think Jory.
He hasn't gotten a software update that lets him do jokes yet.
It's commensurate grapes. That's the reason why.
All right, that's got to make its return at some point because I like that. No, I mean, the show's just been really good. I'm happy that we got something different and new, and that's the same reason why I don't want a villain.
I agree with that, absolutely.
And now I guess I'm kind of like looking forward is that she is supposed to be in Doctor Strange.
Correct.
Yep. Which if she was the villain would be great.
Oh, that'd be so good.
I would definitely dig that.
Yeah, definitely 100% could be a possibility.
It definitely could be a possibility.
Yeah, which would be a good misdirect because everyone's like, "Oh, cool, we're doing another team up. You've got Doctor Strange and Wanda. That's cool." It's like, nope, she's the villain. Like that would be
cool if they had a villain where someone actually had to think twice before just punching them in the face.
Because she's got like a decent reason for becoming a villain. She lost everything and like,
or a villain that just isn't the hero but inverted.
Right. She's not just Doctor Strange doing dark magic. She's like actually got, reasons.
However, her what she's doing has horrible repercussions around the world, and Strange is like, all right, my gloves.
Isn't he supposed to be protecting our reality?
Yeah.
And he's nowhere to be seen.
He's busy.
Strange. Can you imagine Strange fighting Wanda? Because he just wouldn't care at all. He'd be like, listen, I know you're a good guy or something, but here we go.
Right. Yeah, shadow clone jutsu.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it makes sense, but I guess he also doesn't have the time stone anymore. That makes sense. Yeah, that's gone.
So in this fight, Wanda would win easily, right?
Sure seems like it.
Because he got beat up by a minion of Thanos. So with the time stone.
Are you talking about Squidward?
Yeah.
Depends on. I think it depends on his biorhythms. I think if his biorhythms are low, he'd lose. But like his biorhythms are pretty high against Thanos.
We bringing in Fire Emblem.
Yeah.
Gotta make sure his biorhythm's high so he can get more crits.
If he's listening to 432 hertz, Hell,
Thanos threw a black hole at Doctor Strange, and he turned it to butterflies. So I don't think he's helpless.
I think it would
he
be a
got
good
wrapped
fight,
up by some rebar by a D-lister.
I don't think he was a D-lister. I think he was absolutely S-list. Iron Man memed him. He just couldn't stop. He couldn't stop a prank.
Can't stop space.
Expect to get pranked.
Because Ebony Maw is like, I feel like same power level as Strange. Like,
if you were to ask me, no Stone Thanos versus like against Maul, I don't know, because if Scarlet Witch can just lift him and crunch him, can't Maul? So I think Maul was high tier. It's just he just didn't expect to get black hole or sucked out of a ship real quick.
Yeah.
And you also got to remember too, in that fight, like Strange's like objective is to protect just to protect the stone. Like that's what he's trying to do. So he's trying not to use it. He's
a great way to protect it is to not lose in 5 minutes.
So Strange just got wharfed. Like they needed him to get beat quick to make sure that everybody who just met this character realizes, oh, this guy's strong.
Yeah, I think so.
Sucks.
Just for him to get pranked 10 minutes later.
Yeah, he had
to show the power of the enemy.
There was going to be a full fight in the ship with Strange and Iron Man against Maul, and they didn't cut it. They decided not to do it because instead of what they did, Iron Man was going to slap on his Iron Man suit onto Strange, and Tony Stark was going to have the cape. And Strange's blasts were going to look like Doctor Strange's. There's concept art that's like official. You can Google right now. And there's like multiple versions of it. And it looks really pretty. But they chose not to do it just because I think this was cleaner, honestly.
Sure.
Yeah.
So the kind of the time constraints of movies, do you think Marvel shows that are not Netflix or ABC but Disney Plus are better or should be more focused than the movies? I feel like the extra time this series has makes it a lot better than if they tried to make this a movie.
TV, I feel like, is becoming like the better medium for storytelling than movies. I mean, yeah, you get more time, you get more character development. Also, I mean, with everything going on, like, yeah, TV is like a better way to tell your story right now, and more cost effective for them. Yeah. Like,
it's definitely interesting. I mean, I still obviously movies will always have their place, but it's almost like how anime works now. You'll get 2 seasons of My Hero Academia and then a movie. So now we're going to have the Disney Plus series kind of going, keeping us fed with MCU, and then we'll get our main chunk movie, which a little bit more money involved.
Perfect example: Demon Slayer had its first core, and then they came out with a movie that will still canon. It's still part of the manga storyline, but then it'll just keep going like that. It's just whether that movies will be in an actual theater going forward, or if it'll just be like, just watch on Disney Plus.
There are definitely things that you can do in a movie that you can't in a show, even still, because clearly, we've seen the two of them fly in this show.
Oh, yeah.
And it didn't look good. And we've seen a stork in this show that made me go, oh, man, why are they doing that? And it didn't look good.
But did you watch the trailer for Falcon Winter Soldier? Sorry, not to interrupt.
No, because I expressed, we were talking earlier, and I'm like, man, I hope that Falcon and Winter Soldier isn't, short on the action. The trailer looked really good. But I think one of the things that really works about WandaVision is, number one, they're short. And so they're not trying to make an 18-episode season about this and that. So that's useful. Also, I'll admit, the first 2 episodes, for the most part, I did not care about them at all. There were 2 or 3 moments of intrigue where the camera, zoomed in and you're like, oh, is something happening? Because I've been sitting through this whole, and I get it. I get what they're doing. But it's really not. To me, the first 2 episodes weren't that enjoyable. It's you just did 22 minutes of that for 10 seconds of, oh, is something about to happen? And it's cool the way they've set it up. But I feel like what they're doing really well is that they're, at least with WandaVision, and that's what's interesting, is how will they do it with Falcon and Winter Soldier? What they've done well is it's all building to this thing, and none of it has been because if this was, Arrow or Flash, they would have been arguing for 45 minutes about Vision getting a promotion.
Right.
And I get it. It's because you're doing comic books and it's on TV and you have all these episodes. It can't just be all fighting and stuff. And it also can't be like things like flying. Because apparently, I guess, flying still costs a lot of money to make those characters do. Because when they flew, it looked bad.
You mean in the house at the end of the episode?
Yeah, when they're like doing this thing and lifting up their
his
knee.
arm looks really weird.
Yeah, where they both do this, and you're like, man, that's some people on strings right there.
Say, you see their bodies tilt and from the yank of the wire.
Listen, Josh, it only looks bad because they're in the hex, and real powers look old school in the hex.
I see.
This makes sense. I'm giving you.
That was 80s tech. That's what it was.
I just want to point out, Justin and Jory, about 15 seconds ago, they were the heads on Vision and Wanda, and it was pretty beautiful.
Wait, I got
it's coming up on stream right now. Jory is Vision and you are Wanda, Justin.
Nice.
Heck
yeah, that's pretty great.
I'm on board.
But so it's interesting because like they've come up with this brand new way to tell stories, and it's good, and it is good. Mm-hmm. And then you're like, so what? I'm just really interested for Falcon and Winter Soldier and how they like kind of deal with the fact that it's a different format. Because WandaVision has dealt with it by doing that's not the way we've ever told stories before.
And I like that it's not a 22 episode season. Like, I like that it's like, here's 9 episodes. We're not really having fluff. I know. Yeah. I mean, the first 2 episodes is just setting up, and like, so you could argue maybe that's a little bit of fluff, but like,
it was necessary fluff.
But it was setting up something. It wasn't just like, here's 2 episodes that don't really
just meant in a vacuum,
matter.
They weren't especially enjoyable to me. They were absolutely necessary. Yeah.
Right. No, but that's what I'm saying. That's what I like about this setup of 9 episodes. I like this one was 45 minutes because I wanted more. But like, they've only been half an hour, and like, here's your story. We're pretty much sticking to it. Like, I've enjoyed that. It's not just like, oh, here's the episode where we're gonna go over to this place and get a MacGuffin that's not really gonna matter in another 10 episodes, and then
is that Mando slander I hear?
MacGuffin? You never heard?
It's like complaining about Mandalorian. Just, hey, let's go to this planet and do this thing.
Yeah. Well, hey,
I'll help you. Of it again.
I'll help you, but you're gonna
Vision's broke again. First. Vision's broke again. I need to go on a quest to repair me.
Right.
And 9 episodes definitely seems a lot more digestible, because I think they probably learned from Netflix being like, 13 episodes, there's just a lot of stuff here that we didn't need in this story.
And 13-hour-long episodes.
Litigation.
Like,
you want to see Matt Murdock brooding for 30 minutes in the courtroom? Because we got you.
Because I would like to see another pitch black ninja fight.
Right.
Where I see a bunch of people flipping around in the dark, but I didn't see anything.
Yeah. Because you got to fill time. That's essentially what it is. You have to fill time, so you're just coming up with stuff. Whereas this is just like,
Colton, do we have more ninjas coming our way? I feel like you said that knowingly.
No. Shang-Chi might have ninjas, but it's not good. I don't think we'll ever see the hand again. I think we got enough of that.
I think
Pietro's a ninja. That's what you're trying to say.
To go back to Falcon and the Winter Soldier, you know who flies a lot? Falcon.
Yeah.
You know who's kind of useless if he's not flying?
You know what I was thinking?
You know who's on a crack investigative team?
I was thinking about Falcon, right? Full member of the Avengers with Tony Stark. Sir, can I have like an Iron Man suit?
Can I get a couple blasters? Can I get something?
But couldn't Scarlet Witch get an Iron Man suit too? Like,
couldn't they all get Iron Man suits?
They're sitting in your garage. I saw them.
No, you can't have suit. Drone.
How about just the one guy who has a suit? Maybe just upgrade it a little bit. Just a couple things, like maybe a little more armor.
I know this is again off topic, but again, my least favorite thing with Endgame is the fact that when they all had the time travel suits, War Machine had the War Machine helmet, but Iron Man did not have the Iron Man helmet.
Mm-hmm.
He had the Ant-Man helmet. And I'm like, why would we put? And if you were going to do, then why not that one? And
hey, they didn't have enough time. Okay,
that leads me to one of my Marvel hot takes. Is that Don Cheadle is wasted as Iron Man, as War Machine.
Well,
he's way too good to be War Machine.
I think that he's going to get there.
Yeah.
Well, he's about to have his own show.
Shouldn't have taken this long. You're right. He has absolutely been wasted thus far. Wasted is tough, because
he's so good, but he's like the third or fourth important person.
He hasn't been given the material, but I
would say third or fourth is being generous.
Yeah, he was a joke in Ultron. Like he was literally, they used him as the punchline for a joke, like at the beginning of that movie of the tank thing. Like
I think we're gonna see it. I think we're gonna see it happen.
Oh no, he's 100%. I mean, yeah, his show will be good. Like I'm excited for that one too. I'm sure he'll show up at some point in some of these other things too. Like
if we're throwing hot takes out, I've seen all the trailers for Falcon Winter Soldier. I don't care about what I see on that show. Like
somebody else.
At this point, like where I stand in the Marvel universe is I watched your films for 10 years. I saw your Infinity Wars and your Endgames, and they were really good, and I loved them. But at this point, like I need weird stuff, like Guardians of the Galaxy, Thor Ragnarok. I need stuff that's interesting to me to really draw me into. Like WandaVision, I'm there for it. Loki, when it was announced, I didn't care about it until I saw the trailer, and I was like, "This looks weird. I'm in." Or like even like the What If it's just like, oh yeah, what if like Killmonger was the Black Panther? I'm like, yeah, I'll watch that. That seems neat. But like Falcon and Winter Soldier just seems fine to me. I'll watch it, but I'm not invested or excited really.
I am, because it's loose. It's tying up the loose ends of my favorite movie of Winter Soldier, and it's taking. I think that dynamic between those two characters are really good, and I'm interested in that, especially without Steve. I'm interested in that. I'm interested in.
But wouldn't that be more loose ends from Civil War?
No, we're talking about Zemo. This is no Civil War. You're right. This is Civil War. I'm crazy. I mix them up. But yeah,
my thing was going to be, did you like Winter Soldier? Because I feel like it's going to be similar to that. You know what I mean? Like it's going to be kind of like a spy movie. It's going to be, or show. It's going to have action. Like I'm excited.
If they go more that route, if they get more spy intrigue route, I'm there for it.
You want a guy with wings on his back and a guy with a metal arm to be a spy?
That's what I'm worried about.
What are we talking about?
No,
I feel like they are built for action movies, and if they're not doing action, it's like two friends that aren't really friends, but their best friend is gone, their mutual friend's gone, so they're just kind of like, I guess we can hang out.
I think we're going to get some good stuff as far as like the American government not letting Falcon be Captain America, which I think will be
that I would be interested to see.
That's 100% what we're getting.
Yeah,
that's absolutely what we're getting.
Yeah,
I mean, because you see in the trailer,
they give us a different Cap. Yeah,
you're getting Cap. Like America has picked a different Captain America. Like you see that him coming out and like the whole thing.
That's not Steve's.
That whole.
Yeah, not in
that wasn't in Vision's Living Will.
It wasn't. Yeah.
Vision busted up today. Everyone was tearing Steve apart.
Vision's Living Will was very thorough.
That Android attorney.
Yeah, it was for the whole planet.
It was
included everyone.
Like with the Falcon and Winter Soldier thing, like I understand where you're coming from with the trailer not necessarily being excited, but the trailer for WandaVision, I was like, who cares? I didn't want to watch WandaVision. Like, I didn't see that trailer, and then I was like, ooh, I want to watch that. I was like, I will watch that because I care about Wanda and I care about Vision. I saw the trailer. There was some weird stuff. I guess I just don't care about a trailer. Like, I don't, the show is going to be good or it's not going to be good. And the trailer, I feel like the relationship of the trailer to the quality of the show is essentially zero.
I had a similar reaction, but it's not because the show seemed weird to me. It's because up to this point, I haven't really cared about Wanda or Vision. I now care about them. The show has been successful.
It has been, I agree. It's helped.
But before, if you told me like they're going to make a show of just Shuri, right now I'm not interested. I'm like, she's
not. Man.
No, she's not. I'm not all that interested in her.
I feel like Shuri's like high on my list of characters I'd like to see a show about.
I would do a Okoye before I did Shuri, but I don't know.
Oh, we're making a show about Vision and Wanda. I was like, I could care less about that. And then they're like, oh, it's set like a 60s sitcom, and there's like this weird underlayer of like you don't know what's happening in it, but just something's off because both of these characters are like straight out of, like I said, a 60s sitcom. I was like, that's an interesting enough premise to hook me. But like Falcon and Winter Soldier, like them just being like, hey, we kind of don't like each other, but we're gonna run around and fight some people. I'm like, that's not that interesting.
No, I agree.
You
That
need
is
to show me a little bit. And like Zemo holding a mask isn't enough to interest me.
No, but that's not what the show's gonna be, though. No. And if it is, it'll be disappointing.
Then I'll watch it and it'll be fine. But ultimately, like if a trailer's purpose is to give you a snippet of what the show's gonna be, the snippet I've seen, I don't care about.
Sure.
I'm trying to remember a trailer that's really made me excited recently.
Thor Ragnarok. That trailer got me.
No, I'm talking like recent.
Do you mean just in general or for Marvel stuff?
I think in general. I don't know. I'm trying to think of the last time I was like, yo, like
maybe Fury Road.
I do have fatigue, I think, just across the map when it comes to like a lot of blockbusters, but
I'm definitely feeling like a Marvel fatigue, because after Endgame I was like, you know what? I'm fine if I never look at a Marvel off.
Like but if you watch the Godzilla Kong trailer, I mean, I feel like I have the same reaction watching that. I'm gonna see it. I'm excited. I like it, but you know what I mean? It just seemed like another one of those movies.
It is. It will be.
Yeah, Mechagodzilla's gonna be in it.
Sure, for probably a little.
No, they're just doing Batman v Superman, but they're copying it with Godzilla Kong.
Godzilla and Kong are both going to realize their mother's names were Martha.
Yeah, and then they're going to have to fight Mechagodzilla.
He's going to have the axe raised up and he'll scream.
Hey man, did you see that axe is one of Godzilla's spikes?
Yes, we're doing this, huh?
I don't care.
He's using one of Godzilla's spikes. All right, no, but all right. Let me. I'm going to go back to WandaVision because I had a thing. Because that's what we are talking about. What was it? Oh God, no. Oh, the whole Captain Marvel thing. So she's definitely Rambo is definitely not into Captain Marvel. Mm-hmm. Do you think it's just because she hasn't been around, or do you think Captain Marvel got some cancer over to her mom?
I think so. We'll probably see it in Captain Marvel 2. I think something happened where they went up into space and she got cancer somehow, like doing some mission with Captain Marvel.
Is Rambo, and this is a question that everyone's going to go, oh God, yes, but I don't know. Is Rambo the daughter of Captain Marvel's friend?
Yeah, so she was the little girl in Captain Marvel.
Okay, that's what I thought, but I hadn't looked it up.
Okay. Yeah, I think there's going to be some story there of she blames her for her mother's cancer or death or something like that.
I hope it's better than some sort of Arrow, like Flash Arrow reason to be mad that she gets over within 20 minutes.
What's the answer to that? Just run faster? Because I feel like that's always the answer.
That's always the answer.
Flash,
is just run faster.
Yes,
in Flash, it's just
if you can't run faster, you run in circles, though.
You know what? I didn't pick up on that Rambo was that lady's daughter, because even though I watched Captain Marvel last week, I forgot most of that movie.
Yep, that's
that'll happen.
They say it in the show.
Well, also when she's coming back, when she's being unblipped, you hear Captain Marvel talking. She's saying that line that she gave to her.
She says,
about calling her.
Yeah,
these are first steps.
She said that line about
expecting me to identify Carol Danvers' voice when some Walking Dead stuff happens in the middle of the MCU. I'm not going to pick up on it. And then they were even like, "Oh, your mother started S.H.I.E.L.D. and she was like a pilot," and I was just like,
"She started Sword."
I was like,
"Thank you,
Sword."
They're the same thing.
No, one's in space.
No, they're not.
Space Force.
They even told me all that, and it just because I just completely forgot that lady's name was Rambo.
See, it's okay. I've still never seen Captain Marvel.
Captain,
it's good.
I thought it was good. I enjoyed that movie very much.
I liked it.
I liked it.
I have nothing against it. I've missed half the Marvel movies. I'm realizing, when I was thinking about how much of a void of knowledge I was going to have on here, I realized, I never saw that. I never saw I never actually saw the first 2 Thor movies, so I didn't realize that Darcy
keep it that way.
You don't need to.
You don't.
Oh, I don't intend to.
Yeah,
Good.
I heard that Thor 2 was a pretty okay Loki movie, and that's about it.
No, not even that. Thor 2 is just not. It's just no, because we were talking about this before. Thor 2 was like that era of like, okay, are the bubbles bursting?
Oh yeah, I never saw Iron Man 3.
It's bad in my opinion.
It's fine.
I heard it's one of those ones that you appreciate more later.
Iron Man 3 is one of those movies that should have been a TV series. If you could spend the time to really like explore all the mental issues he was going through.
Iron Man 3 should have been setting up Ultron. It would have been doing.
You're right.
It should. If you delete Iron Man 3 right now, it does nothing. It doesn't affect like the MCU.
I mean, the big thing at the end of that movie is, oh, I'm never going to be Iron Man again. Let me throw away this arc reactor. I don't need that anymore. And then immediately you're
let me blow up all of my suits.
It very much seems kind of like a filler film, and the fact that it's very much like an anime movie in that aspect, and the fact that we can't mess with the storyline too much here because we still have to. Viewers still got to pick up at a certain point and still expect things from Iron Man, whereas it just seemed like it just came and went and didn't really have that much of an impact on really anything else. And I'm pretty sure the president got kidnapped in that film.
Sure did.
Yeah.
And the War Machine armor, fine.
No, it was Iron Patriot armor.
The War Machine
armor. Because remember we did that. We were like, oh, he's going to be the Iron Patriot for a movie, and then we're going to get that happen too.
Hey, they brought it back.
Yeah.
It was an Endgame. We saw colorful armor.
It was colorful again. Yeah.
The movie explained why Black Widow doesn't have an Iron Man suit, because he actually offered her one. He was like, hey, you can have one of these. And she was like, you know what? I'm fine. Because those suits fell apart when they got hit by a car.
Oh, yeah. Those were made out of tissue paper. Those things were his worst.
So he did offer them a suit. They opted out.
On a list of Marvel things I'm not excited about, Black Widow is at the top of that list.
I agree with that a lot.
But why? Everything
I do not care at all.
Not at all.
You have had 10 years to tell Black Widow's story, and now you're just tacking it on after she gets dusted. Like, I don't care. Like, you had your chance, and you threw off a cliff. Like,
yeah, it seems disrespectful.
I want that weirdo David Harbour in my veins. Oh, it's going to be so weird.
I'll say weird Russian David Harbour I'm fine with, but I'm sure I'll get that in Stranger Things season 4.
Yeah, I mean, I hope they
ages.
add something with it, because I don't want it to just be, because it's in between Infinity War and Endgame, and if it's just like, well, this is what she was up to, see you later, I don't care. I hope they at least add something, and what they're going to add, unfortunately, is her replacement. But
Baby Widow?
Yolanda.
And I have nothing against Black Widow, and I like Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow. It's just like, don't give me a movie now. You should have given me a movie in phase 2 or the beginning of phase 3. That's when you give her movie.
But I disagree, because then we shouldn't get Armor Wars for the same reason.
Yeah.
What is that?
Armor
War Machine show.
That's the War Machine show.
Oh, well, also, he's not dead.
Yeah, he is still
I guess he can't do Yeah, but hey, man.
His story can still continue. He will return. He still gets a post-credit scene. Black Widow, unless they do something wild, they're not bringing, she's not coming back. So, like,
maybe she's in the Hex.
Ended. So, like...
all comes back to the Hex.
It could. I mean, honestly, if we're doing multiverses, you can bring her back somehow.
What if you bring her back, but cast as a
won't be
different
the
person?
same one that we're going to see in this movie.
What if Tony traded his soul for hers and brought her
I was going to say, the other thing is, if you're giving the stone back, does that give the soul back? Because he brought the soul stone back, so
I don't think the soul stone would be that forgiving.
I mean, it's a soul.
Where did he put it then? Did he just leave it in the water? Like, yeah, this is fine.
Yeah,
he didn't have the receipt.
He go up and give it to the Red Skull, like, hey,
I guess he only gets stored credit.
He cashed this in for another soul later on.
Yeah, I'll be back.
No, it doesn't work like that. You actually only get like 40% of the soul's value.
Does Vision have a soul?
I didn't know Red Skull was running GameStop.
You just get a
I got a soul
PS2.
guy. I'll call him. He'll be down here in an hour.
Does Vision have a soul?
What about a pre-owned
That's a good
soul?
question.
He was made by the mind. I don't think he has a soul. I think he's a soulless machine.
Vision's just a big pile of trash that moves, basically.
I mean, he was kind of thrown together. That's the one line that annoyed me about Shuri when she was like, "Why didn't you do X, Y, and Z?" And they're like, "Oh, I guess we didn't think of it." Man, if they had Tony there, he would have been like, "Because we were being chased by Ultron, he did have to work. We then had to improvise based on the work he gave us. We had no time. Quicksilver pulled the power, and Thor charged him up by lightning. I don't know. Why didn't you?"
90% of them was made in a truck. He was in a truck on the interstate.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't sit there and like have time to sit there like, oh, maybe we could change how his brain works. No, they were just,
we gotta do this real quick before Cap shows up. Like, hurry up. Like,
it was just, yeah. That's the one. I'm fine with Shuri being Shuri and being outside, but I don't think I want her as Black Panther. I know we're going way outside. I don't think I want her as Black Panther.
I do.
No, I don't think. I don't know, because it would be, I guess, a techie Black Panther. I don't know. I'm just not interested. I would rather. I would be more.
I want her as Iron Man, so she can't be Black Panther.
well, we're not.
I want her as all the heroes. Make her Thor too.
You're getting Ironheart. That's the same thing.
Make her Thor 3, please, not Thor 2.
Yeah.
I know this is weird. I want Michael B. Jordan as Black Panther.
Yes, 100%. I would love for that to happen.
That would be great if he wasn't dead.
What we can do, I think
Michael B. Jordan's still alive.
No, he did.
He's
recording. Michael B. Jordan is dead.
I'm just like one universe over where he was a good guy. We'll get that guy.
I'd be fine with that. Or again, multiverses, whatever. Like, pull him from another. It's like, no, in this one he was T'Challa, or they're not going to do T'Challa, but like
he was. Pull him from the Creed universe.
Now we're talking.
You know what? Actually, you find out that's where Wallace went.
We gonna get any scrolls in WandaVision?
I don't know.
They could all be scrolls, I guess.
Hey, like Rambo's friends with them.
Yeah, and that was like when they ask that, like, in the first episode where we moved over, like do you think this is scrolls? Like, that was one of the first things they were talking about in the sword bubble, wasn't it? I feel like I remember them saying that. Oh, I think it was on the board. I think it was like,
I think you're right.
Scrolls. Yeah, I think that was.
Like
now that's the thing that people know about.
Still trust the scrolls.
I was even wondering, why would they question the scrolls' validity if like they're buddies with them?
They're just always like, maybe though. Yeah. Hey, there's gonna be some bad scrolls, I guess.
There will be bad scrolls when we see Fantastic Four finally roll into the MCU.
And Secret Invasion, which is happening.
All right, I must step away for one moment.
So, all right.
He's like, wait a minute, I don't want to be this guy.
What?
Wait, you got.
You cut out for a minute there, Jory. We couldn't hear you.
I want Michael B. Jordan to come in as Human Torch from the terrible Fantastic Four. But then he shows up in the Hex and he's just like, wait, I don't want to be Human Torch. Let me be someone else.
I would not write it off. Like, in like 6 years, you're going to see him as the Torch somewhere, like on a TV in the background or something.
Probably.
We also see Chris Evans as Torch too somewhere.
So, I mean, do you think Wanda will have consequences? The answer is no, right?
No. Well, again, the best consequence for her in the show would be for her to be a bad guy in Doctor Strange. I just love it. I never even thought about that until someone said it, but that's so good.
Yeah.
But it's probably some other bad guy manipulating it and making a deal with her to try to get Vision back or something, and then Wanda's starting to snap out of it. And they got to fight her, and then you have witch battle.
Hopefully not.
Witch battle. Hopefully not.
Hopefully not.
Yeah.
So what's gonna happen to the kids, to Jimmy and Billy, the double dragons?
Jimmy and Benny.
Join the Young Avengers.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think they're gonna stay whatever they are.
Jimothy and Bimothy.
I mean, I would like for them to not exist afterwards, but I assume that if everything in there is real, that they exist, and then they will probably join the Young Avengers. Avengers and be something down the line.
I was going to guess they're just like pure hex energy, and once this gets over with and collapses, then they will disappear too.
What's her name's pants made Kevlar, and she really had to shoot it. She couldn't just test and see on the computer that it was 70% Kevlar. She had to shoot it. I like that.
She saw that first. She saw that it was 87% Kevlar.
It's like, oh, it's Kevlar.
And shot it. It's like, well, you already know. Why do you have to shoot it? Why do you have to put Peggy Carter in the middle of this? Again. Yeah.
She also never realized as she was wearing it that it wasn't the weight of cloth.
Oh, this little sundress weighs about 80 pounds. A little drag.
Things are weird in the hex, man.
Yeah. No, I think the kids will be back.
Yeah.
But are they going to call her mom, even though they've known each other for a week? I don't know. This is going to be weird.
Maybe they'll just age themselves out before we have to see them again.
They'll go full life cycle. Like they'll get to like 82 and just...
You are either muted or not coming through.
How about now?
There you go.
There you go.
Okay.
You might have had that mic covered up.
Yeah.
I was going to say, we mentioned Fantastic Four a minute ago. Do you guys think the scientist that she was texting was Reed Richards?
Too soon to tell.
That who was texting? Darcy?
No, Monica. Because she's like, they were talking about, I need a neurospace engineer. And she started texting. She's like, I know just the guy. And then, yeah.
It was probably Spider-Man.
It was probably Spider-Man.
Could rule this city, Spider-Man.
She's texting Jonah Jameson.
Yeah, I think it's too soon to tell. I think that's going to be one of those things that they'll point to 6 years from now and say that they meant it to be, but
it won't actually,
like Tom Holland or Spider-Man being in Iron Man 1 or 2.
2, yeah. No,
it wasn't, but now it is.
But you retcon. That's a weird thing to retcon and say that was, Spider-Man. But okay, sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. I don't know. So we got that new episode on Friday. And then how many more?
We have 4 more.
4.
That's good.
Yeah, that's right. That was episode 5.
We're cooking now. Yeah. We're at that.
After last week's 4 more episodes.
Yeah, I like that. I think we're at the point where it's starting to be like we're getting like half in the hex and half like outside. Like it's starting to be a little bit of both stories, which I feel like is kind of nice.
Yeah.
And next week is 90s. I want to say, and it feels like I think it's like the Halloween episodes what it looks like.
Gotcha. So if that's 90s, we don't really. I mean, we're not going to go to the 2020 or like.
I think there is because I remember seeing like one of the trailers. It's like she was doing like a Modern Family type like sitcom of like
interview.
She was talking to the camera and like making jokes. So I feel like we might have like 2 more before maybe like.
If they have an Office episode, can Wu play Jim?
Oh yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. Also, like that's like a decade ago. That's more than a decade ago.
Yeah.
I like because I had the same thought. Like, well, they won't go past the 90s. It's like, why? Because that's when you were a kid. You're old.
Huh?
I saw something about a meme about Wonder Years because it took place in '68, and if we were to make Wonder Years now, it would take place in 2001 or whatever. Like,
yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah, so the same thing about like we saw shows about the 60s like when we were kids, like that's the same amount of time. Like if they made a show about the 90s now, that'd be the same thing, which is like
we're all gonna die.
Yep. Unless we go to the hex.
Good talk.
we're aging.
All right.
Yeah.
Any other big thoughts?
Once we stop streaming, I want to say a joke that I couldn't.
All right. That'll be exclusively on the Patreon.
Yeah. There you go.
Make sure you ring that bell.
Yeah, like and subscribe.
Game Up City Nights.
Sorry for watching. Please like and subscribe to watch it some more.